Yo, what's up guys? Today I want to talk about the state of Fiora. So Fiora is getting nerfed again in patch 14.7 and she was just nerfed in patch 14.4, but there's a good reason for it. And I think we kind of have to go back in time a little bit to see why. This may be a little bit surprising for newer players, but the last time that Fiora was buffed was actually in patch 11.4. So this has now been over 3 years since the last Fiora buff. And why is that, right? That's what we want to get into. And Fiora throughout this entirety, the last 3 years has been extremely strong. She's been meta, she's been S tier, and she's been one of the best top laners that you can play in solo queue, basically. But she's only received nerfs during those 3 years. So how has Fiora been able to get away with getting nerfed 5 times, now 6 times in a row, and still remain one of the best top laners in the game? So when we go back to 11.4, we see this buff. This buff is what basically led to Fiora being probably the strongest top laner in the entire game. I don't think anybody even came close. What happened in season 11? Mythics were rolled out. And when Mythics first came out, Core Drinker was incredibly powerful, incredibly strong. Fiora was considered one of the 4 horsemen of top lane. It was like Fiora, Aurelia, Riven, and Atrox, and they all used Gore Drinker really well. It had like ability haste on it. All the champions need low cooldowns. The healing was insane, like absolutely not okay type of healing. You would get back to full HP just off using 1 Gore Drinker active. So when we scroll through this list, we'll notice that we get a nerf right away. We get 11.16. We get a little bit of a nerf there. We go back up, and then we see the durability patch in 12.10. So keep in mind, Fiora in season 11 was able to remain like the best top laner. She was the best top laner for this whole season, basically. And then once we got to 12.10, this is when they did the durability patch. Every champion basically got a buff. Health got increased on all champions, health growth, armor growth, magic resistance, everything got buffed basically. So what they did was they tried to reduce healing. They tried to reduce healing from healing champions to make it a little bit better, make it a little bit easier. They figured if they gave the champions more strength, more durability, they could reduce the healing and that would be okay. Well, Fiora just shines right through this because she's a true damage champion. Now, true damage is just broken. There's really no way for me to word it. True damage is broken. And it's why Fiora feels so frustrating to play against. It's why a lot of true damage champions feel so frustrating to play against, is because there's no counterplay. You can't do anything. You can't buy an item that's going to reduce true damage, which makes these true damage champions so hard to balance, basically. So when we go up, leading right after this buff, or the durability patch, the durability patch ended up being a buff for Fiora and all true damage champions, because just because everybody got more HP doesn't mean that it changes how much damage true damage does, right? So then we're going to see the next nerf that pops off. That's 12.12, and this is when the bonus AD ratio on vitals goes down to 4.5 from 5.5, which honestly necessary because she was just one-shotting everybody, right? So this is the second nerf in a row. But once again, what do we see here? Nothing. There was some changes to items. Gore Drinker did get nerfed, but then what was the next best thing was Divine Sunder on Fiora. And Divine Sunder with Grasp was absolutely impossible to play against. You couldn't beat her in lane. She would outscale you. All she had to do was use Q, hit a vital, and she would get her HP back and chunk you down for half your HP. Once again, super difficult to play against. And now we see right into 13.1. So once again, Fiora is going to get nerfed on 13.1. This is going to be the third nerf in a row. This is the Q nerf, and then vital nerf down to 4% from 4.5. And this is what it's currently at today, is at 4%. But what happened in season 13 that made Fiora remain S tier? Hullbreaker. Hullbreaker came into the game. The new Hullbreaker where you just split push all game, and you had crazy resistances. It had 200% gold efficiency, and absolutely broken item. Absolutely broken item. So once again, we see patch 11, Gore Drinker. We see it, or season 11, Gore Drinker. Season 12, Divine Sunderer. Season 13, we've got Hullbreaker. So once again, we're going to see the nerf that happened on 14.4 here. This is the parry, 25% from 50% for the attack speed slow. And now we're going to see another nerf coming where we're going to see base AD moving down to 65 instead of 68, which I actually think they changed that. I think they're actually doing 66 instead. I'm not too sure about this. Just want to mention that there is a little thing going around here from Spider Axe. This is base AD increased from 65 to 66. So maybe it's only going down by 2. But here's the thing. So when we go back and we look, so she got nerfed on 14.4. But what happened on 14.4 is that they buffed Ravenous. So 14.3, we noticed a 52.73% win rate. And now we're really just looking at, Plat Plus and Global here. This is a very large scale, but 52.73. So we go down to 52.1. So only like a 0.5 difference in win rate from her most recent nerf on 14.4 because Ravenous gets buffed. So what will we see when this next patch comes out? 14.6. In my opinion, I don't think that we're going to notice much of a difference at all, because what's really been carrying Fiora throughout these 3 years and keeping her in the S tier, S tier, you can't even really argue A tier. She's been so strong. She has been S tier for 3 years. What has kept her in that bracket, in that category of being one of the best top laners, has been the items in the game. So now we have Ravenous being broken once again. It got its lifesteal active increased, and it's so hard to play against because if you use the active to hit a vital, or maybe you hit 2 in a 1v2, you're getting half your HP back right there. But also, not to mention, the items in Season 14 are much different as well. They have a lot higher base AD, which really helps Fiora. She loves bonus AD. She loves flat AD. Just give it all to her, and then her vital damage just skyrockets. So you got like Ravenous, you got Eclipse, you got Hullbreaker, has 65 AD on it now. Eclipse is 2,800 gold for 70 AD. So the real issue, why is Fiora so broken? For one, okay, she's a true damage champion. But for two, the items the last 3 years in top lane, there's always been something that is just over the top broken that keeps her in that S tier bracket. So when this next nerf comes through, in my opinion, I don't think we're going to see much of a difference. I think we're sitting at 51.5, and this is obviously global and Plat Plus. But it's going to remain over the 50% mark. It's going to remain about 51%, I would imagine, because the item Ravenous is just so strong on her right now. It is just so strong. So, in my opinion, the only way that we'll ever see Fiora truly fall out of that S tier is if they nerf the top lane items. But they can't really do it because Fiora just uses these high AD, high lifesteal items so much better than other champions that it's hard to balance it around her. I really don't think we'll see any effect until they nerf these items like Ravenous. We might lose a little bit of a win rate, but not much. And now for the newer players that are wondering why is Fiora getting nerfed back to back, and now you know, she's been getting nerfed for a while and they still haven't been able to figure it out and balance her. But I really personally believe that it comes with the items. And another reason why she gets nerfed so often recently, and she may even receive another nerf, is because she's such a popular champion as well. Now, when we look at Plat Plus, we're looking at a 5% play rate. So basically 5% of all games have a Fiora in the game, and also with 8.7% ban rate. There's a lot of champions in the game. That's a pretty high number. And as you go up, Fiora is such a solo queue monster that as we climb up into Emerald, we're going to see the popularity go up. And the ban rate will go up as well, so to 5% to 10, and then when we go Diamond Plus, even higher ban rate, even higher pick rate, and then when we get to Masters Plus, 7% play rate with a 16% ban rate. So Fiora is not, this nerf will not take her away from the spotlight. The state of Fiora is that she is really strong, and she's going to remain strong as long as the items that she builds are strong. So this next nerf is nothing to worry about, and I don't think we really need to get upset about Fiora getting back-to-back nerfed. I could even see Fiora getting nerfed a third time and she would still remain S tier. Once the items get nerfed that she builds, that's when I think we need to be a little bit worried. But in my opinion, the state of Fiora is that she has been one of the best top laners for the last few years, and she will remain that way until they nerf those items. Well. This video was unfortunately delayed getting out, but what this allows us to do is actually see if we were right about the nerfs. So we're looking at 14.7 here, and we are at a 51.26%. And I did write this down a while back when I was doing this video, and it was 51.5% was the win rate, and we were considered S tier, Fiora was, and now she's considered A plus tier. But and once again, it really is the items, you know. It's the Ravenous, the Eclipse, the Hullbreaker. Triforce isn't really that strong, but I feel like Triforce might end up getting a buff. Regardless, the items are keeping her where she is. She's remaining above 50% win rate, and she's a very high skill ceiling champion. And typically champions like that, you want to average, or you want to balance them below 50% for the people that are more skilled on them. But like I said, the nerf didn't really do much. She's still doing great. It looks like she might have gotten knocked out of the S tier category just a bit. But in the grand scheme of things, I still think that Fiora is very strong. She's doing great. I do think she is in a delicate spot. I will say that, in my opinion, I do think that this is the most delicate spot that she's been in, where a very good nerf to, let's say, like Ravenous, or another good nerf to Fiora would definitely knock her down to 49% win rate. But I think at this point, you know, she's been nerfed twice in a row. I think we're good to go, and this is where Fiora is going to sit for a very long time, in my opinion. Just did the MSI patch that is coming out, and I just don't see much changes coming. So we are good. The state of Fiora, as long as the items are good, Fiora will be good. So that's the video, guys. Until next time, peace, love, bye-bye.